Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Behind me is a Nissan Titan. Year don't matter because I'm putting a set of aftermarket fog lights on it. So this thing has a set of fog lights already, but these ones are really dim and faded and they don't really work very well. So I'll remove those. I'm either going to put the new set here or I'm going to put it here in this little hole, depending on how the mounting and everything goes. So let's dig into it. All right, this set of fog lights I got is from Nilight. Right there, you can see that, right? Good. Okay, good. The kit itself, like most of these fog light kits, comes with a set of lights. Comes with an entire wiring harness, switches, relays, everything. Mounting bracket and some electrical connectors. So with these fog light kits, back in the day, people would like to just rig in fog lights, throw maybe a fuse in it or something, and be done with it, toggle switch on the dash. And that's fine, at least the fuse is in there for circuit protection, but it's really beneficial to have a wiring harness that's got a relay in the harness as well. This is a much better setup, much more professional. It'll last longer, more circuit protection, and all around just a better fit. So we're going to figure out where we're going to mount these first, and then start running the hardware, and I'm going to show you guys how to hook it all up and how to mount the relays and where I'm going to mount the switch and all that stuff. So. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I want to mount this light inside of here, like that. One fashion or another, because I just like the way it looks. It's clean. It fits in there nicely. It's got the same sort of shape. I don't want to have it sticking down below where things can hit it. I don't want to put it up here in the grill. I want it in this hole. It's like it's meant to be. So I'm kind of going out of my way here to make something work, and I think I've come up with a solution that could potentially work. So basically, the way these things mount up here, let me see if I can put you. You got this little bracket that comes with the kit, and there's a nut inserted into the light here. So this bracket will bolt on there, and there's adjustment. It's a slotted hole, so you can make your angle adjustment like that. And then this has it squared off, so the nuts that come with this you can put in here, and then you can put something on the back to hold it, and then you don't need a wrench on this side because it's inside that little slot. So there's a hole already in the bumper. There's a little you can see it, a little square hole right here. My plan is to take a bracket that I've hoarded, which I've hoarded several, and I'm gonna mount it in there like that using this existing hole, and then put that about right there, which give it, oops, I'm not even at the right angle. I'm gonna put it in this little hole here, mount it about right there, and that'll put it at about the right angle for the other bracket to mount it there. So I know not everyone has these brackets. I hoard stuff like this, these little L brackets, because they come in handy for exactly this reason. But if you're gonna do this and you don't have any of this stuff, you could just use existing holes and mount it like that or somewhere else. But I'm being stubborn. I really want to mount it in here, so I'm going the extra mile. The problem I have now is that hole, if I just bolted that bracket down, it'd be right there. I want that bracket to kind of be up a little bit. That way it has that space up, and I can bolt it in there. In order to do that, I need a spacer. So I've got this other bracket. I'm gonna cut. It's already got these spacers on it. This is from another job I did at one of the old shops I used to work at. I'm gonna take my cutoff wheel. I'm gonna cut these spacers out of here, and I'm gonna use one on this side and one on the passenger side. The spacers will go here. Come on. Spacers will go there like that, and then the brackets will sit on top of the spacer, which will give me the right height I need, and then I can bolt everything together. So after that overly complicated explanation of what I'm doing, let's see if it works. All right, there's been a slight change of plan. I'm no longer using that hole on the bumper because I can't get the right angle. If I were to mount it that way, the light would just face out towards the passengers and blind everybody. So I don't like to drill holes if I don't have to. And in this bumper frame rail piece here, whatever it's called, there's already a hole in there a threaded hole right here. You can see I already found a bolt to fit inside there. Pretty good sized bolt, but I had one nonetheless, so I threw that in there and put the bracket on that way, and now this thing is pretty centered on here, and I can go ahead and mount the light in there that way. And so I'll duplicate that on the other side, get the light mounted. What this also does is it makes it to where the light, when it's mounted in here, I can reach the adjuster on the bottom to change the angle of it this way too. It's a little more accessible spot, so it's all around better idea. So that's what I'm going to go with now. Mount this up in here. Gonna go mount the other side the exact same way, as long as I have a hole here, and then we'll move on to running the wires after that. All right, next step we're gonna do is, according to the wiring diagram here, the ends of these, where the lights are mounted, we got to put the ends on it. So they don't come with the ends already crimped on there, because the manufacturer doesn't know what application you're putting in. You might not need the ends on there. So the ends on the harness are female ends, so that means we're going to need male ends on the 3 wires going into the LED light. So I'm going to crimp these on here, but before I do, the protective sheath is too far out at the end. I don't have enough room here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around this and pull probably about a half an inch or an inch back, and give myself some play here. So I'm going to take my wire cutter crimpers and just kind of slide that back. Oh, dang it, I went too far on that one. Oopsie. Okay, let me start over. Cut back a little bit without damaging the other wires. There we go, like that. And now I have a little bit more room to play with, and then I'm just gonna take and strip a section off like that. I'm gonna put the provided connector on here and make sure it's inside the thing, and then take your crimper and crimp it down. Pretty simple, straightforward. Most of you guys are probably fast forwarding this step because you guys already know this. If you're tackling this job yourself, this part is probably not necessary for me to teach you, but I'm gonna do it anyway. These probably aren't my favorite connectors to use. I like to use ones that have like heat shrink on them to protect the wire a little bit more. I don't have any of those currently, and this is what came with the kit, so it's gonna have to do for now. I can always go back later and put those on. So I'm gonna finish this process for this light and the other light, and then after that we're gonna figure out how we're gonna run this whole harness. All right, folks, this is where it kind of gets tricky. We're getting ready to run this harness for the lights, and you gotta have to put a little bit of thought into this. You can't just run it any old way. So the easiest method that I've kind of found on this here is I want to run the switch on the driver's side of the dash. Now, the length of wire they give you with the connector for the switch isn't long enough for me to run from that side of the firewall all the way over here to the batteries. This is where I want to mount the relay and the fuse. Generally, when you're mounting up lights or something that needs circuit protection like a fuse, you want it to be as close to the power source as possible. That way, if something happens or short, you burn as little of the wire as possible. Now, with that said, I'm not doing that. throwing the instructions right out the window. Only because the length of wire and the connector and everything I got for the switch is only so long. So my plan right now is to mount this over here somewhere on the driver's side, out of the way. The connector for the switch is going to come from behind the brake booster. I'll show you guys that in a minute. Then what I'll do is I'll lengthen the wires coming off of the fuse and then run that around here into the battery, and then this inline fuse will mount somewhere, you know, in this area. It'll make it tidy, nice and neat. Then at that point we'll run the wires for the lights down on the side of the grill down to the lights. That'll be the last part. It's a lot easier to run this length down to the lights than it is to run the relay and the switches up the other way. So you generally start in the engine compartment, figure out where you're going to mount everything, find a way through the firewall, which I'm going to show you guys now. So up here next to brake pedal assembly, gosh, I can't get this, there's a hole that came All right, what the? I already have. Gosh dang it. All right, so up here on the firewall, next to the brake booster, there's already kind of an accessory hole that had this plug sticking in it. I'm pulling that plug out, and I'm going to shove the connector in through here. What I'm also going to do is kind of cut this out and use it kind of as a protector around the metal edge to protect the wiring harness. Dang it. Keep dropping stuff. So hollow that out, cut a slit in it to let all the wire go through, and then when the wires run that in there, and then put that plug back in to kind of use it as like a grommet, I guess. And then the other problem I have with this kit is they already have the connector and everything on this end of the switch, and that doesn't fit through the hole. So at this point, I've got two options. I could drill that out, make the hole bigger, and then shove the connector through there, which, you know, is probably not a bad idea. The other option is to depin this. If you have the correct tool, you can depin the connector from the back side, remembering how the pins went in, run the wires through, and then repin the connector. So depending on your ability and depending on your what you have accessible to you, you can run either way. I guess there is a third option. You can just cut the wires and then splice it afterwards, but I try not to have too many splices in my wiring work. That just creates problems down the road. So I think I may try just to depin it. Let me see if I think I have the right tools to do that, then run the wire into the grommet. If I don't have the right tools to depin it, I am just going to drill that hole bigger and just shove the connector through there and figure out a different way to grommet that. All right, to depin this connector is actually pretty simple. I would recommend taking a picture of where the wires went in before doing this. That way you put them back in the correct location. But to depin it, I got two out already. When they're in there, they have these little tabs that stick out to keep it in place. So what you're going to do is inside the connector, you're going to push with a pick or something on that, push on that tab, and then pull it out the back. So I'll do the last two here. And push in with the pick, and then pull the wire out of the back like that. And it's actually really simple. So this is definitely the method I'm going to use. Then that's small enough I can shove that through the firewall, put my little makeshift grommet on it, and then when you get ready to put these back in there, you're not just going to shove them back in. What you want to do is, since you squish these tabs down, is you want to get something underneath of them, like a pick or something, spread those back out a little bit, so that way when you put them back into the connector, they catch, and then you're off to the races. All right, got everything connected. Wires are still dingling down everywhere. I got to tidy that stuff up, but got it all connected up. Got the wires ran to the battery. I got the power wire ran in up here on the top post, not the side here. Sometimes when you put it in the side, you try tightening it down, it gets wrapped around it because it grips, so it's better to put it up here. And then it's still underneath the cover and everything. So got the power cable ran, ground cable ran, fuse is in. I'm gonna tidy, like I said, I'm gonna tidy all this stuff up later. I got the relay mounted up here on one of the mount bolts for the fan shroud. It's out of the way, it's nice and tidy, and then the wire for the switch is running underneath the airbox and through the firewall, and I think I'm ready to turn on the switch and see if I got power. Alright, I still got to mount the switch here, but I'm going to turn it on now. Oh yeah, got power. Now I'm probably going to have to aim these. They seem kind of low. I may have to bring them up a bit. But other than that, everything is working as designed. Where's this one aiming at? That one seems okay. This one seems kind of low. So I'll figure that out later. Forgot to show you guys, this thing's got different modes. So you can see that's the first mode. And you can change it to like a yellow light, a different color light, and then it's got flash mode, and then the orange flash, and then it goes back to regular. So that's it. That's the installation for the Nilight fog light assembly, wiring harness, switch, and lights and everything. So I'm gonna finish up just tightening the wires up and zip tying everything up, mounting it to where it's nice and neat and tidy, and that'll be it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped somebody, and if you like what I do on this channel, please consider subscribing and press that like button for me, all right? We'll see you guys in the next one.